You ever get that feeling that maybe doing the right thing is actually a weakness? I mean, we're told all the time that to get ahead, you gotta cut corners, that being kind is just naive. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if real integrity is the ultimate power? Well, today we're gonna explore that very idea with a simple but really powerful story. You've heard this before, right? This is that cynical advice people love to give. It sounds so practical, so worldly. It basically says that having values is a luxury you can't afford. This one idea is the central challenge we're diving into today, a challenge faced by one young man in a small town. So our story is set in this place where, the rules of the game just seem totally stacked against anyone trying to play fair. It's that classic conflict, a corrupt world pushing up against one person's refusal to just give in. So you can see, the battle lines are just super clear. On one side, you've got the town's way of thinking. Cheat to get ahead, make fun of people who are genuine, play dirty. It's the easy way out. And on the other side, you've got Arham's way. Be honest, be kind, and always, always do the right thing. Two completely different playbooks for life. All right, so who's the guy at the center of all this? Let's meet Arham, a man who decided to live by a different set of rules, even when it kind of made him an outcast. Now, Arham isn't some superhero. He's just a simple guy, runs a little bookstore, and people liked him, They liked his warmth, but they also kind of thought his goodness was, well, a bit naive, like he was too innocent for the real world. But here's the key thing to know about him. His entire philosophy was built on doing the right thing, especially when he thought nobody was looking. And this quote, man, it just says it all. Whenever his friends would tease him about being so honest, this was his answer. See, for him, it wasn't about getting a reward or trying to avoid punishment. The real prize was a clear conscience. Being able to sleep peacefully at night, that was his currency. Of course, look, it's easy to talk a big game about having principles when nothing's on the line, right? But one day, everything Arham believed in was about to come face to face with a challenge that would define his entire life. It happened on a totally normal day, in his totally normal bookstore. Just a quiet moment that was about to become the most important moment of his life. A moment that would force him to choose between his problems and his principles. Just picture it for a second. An envelope, totally stuffed with cash, just sitting there. No one saw it get dropped. No one would ever know if you just slipped it into your pocket. It could solve so many of your problems right then and there. I mean, be honest with yourself. What would you do? So here's what's going on in his head, in a split second. First, boom, temptation. Of course, he's human. That money could fix so much. But then, his conscience, that voice he'd been listening to his whole life, it just screams louder. And that's it. Decision made. He doesn't even think twice. He bolts out the door and runs to find the owner. So Arham makes this choice, and it totally changes everything. He wasn't looking for a reward, not at all. He was just doing what felt right. But man, did it set something incredible in motion. And the guy who lost the money, this wealthy man, he's just floored. I mean, completely stunned. His reaction tells you everything you need to know about this town. Honesty was so rare that seeing it in person was almost unbelievable. He just assumed anyone would have taken the cash. In Arham's response, it's so simple, but so incredibly powerful. This is really the heart of the whole story. He just says, I would have known. And that's enough. Wow. The only judge that mattered was himself. But here's where the story takes a turn nobody saw coming. It turns out this wasn't an accident. The wealthy man reveals he's a business owner, and he had been searching for someone with real, unshakable integrity. The lost envelope, the whole thing was a test. So the true reward wasn't just found money. It was this incredible opportunity built entirely on trust. Arham was offered a partnership not because he was the sharpest businessman, but because his character was priceless. Experts actually have a name for this. They call it reputational capital. It's this idea that your integrity has real, tangible value. It opens doors that money just can't. So look, Arham's story isn't just some fairy tale about a lucky break, right? It's really showing us a powerful, universal truth about character. And that brings us to the big takeaway here. We really have to redefine what integrity even is. It's not just some passive trait you have, it's an active choice. It's a victory you win every single day. In a world that's constantly rewarding shortcuts, choosing the honest path, that's a revolutionary act. It is in itself the biggest win. And that brings us right back to where we started. Remember that cynical advice? You gotta play dirty to survive? Well, this story just blows that idea out of the water. Arham shows us that real strength, the kind that lasts, comes from an unwavering commitment to your values. That reputational capital we talked about, it's the ultimate long-term investment. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you a leader. So, here's the thing we want to leave you with. Your character, your integrity, it's the one thing you spend your entire life building, but you can lose it in a heartbeat. It can't be bought, it can't be sold, so the only question left is the one Arham had to answer for himself. What is yours worth?